Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Shem Yahshua, Bashem Rakakadash. Double and the apostles and elders, great meals on the rule and Shalom. To all the brothers doing the work, sharing truth. This article on Vice. It says, what Amazon delivery drivers forced to sign biometric consent form or lose job. So it's, yeah. Okay, I'll read it a bit. It says, the new cameras, which are being implemented nationwide, use artificial intelligence to access drivers' location, movement, and biometric data. It says what Amazon delivery drivers nationwide have to sign a biometric consent form this week that grants a tech behemoth permission to use AI-powered cameras to access drivers' location, movement, and biometric data. If the company's delivery drivers, who number over 75,000 in the US, refuse to sign these forms, they lose their jobs. The form requires drivers to agree to facial recognition and other biometric data collection within the trucks they drive. So it's funny, there's a few kind of angles to this, because it's, first of all, it's the enforcement of basically having your biometric data collected, and it's not even, well, they're talking, it's basically just having a camera watching man, and them being able to track you whenever. Because I think otherwise it's if you've got like CCTV, well, I don't know, because it's actually it's not even going to be the same. It's the US. The laws are going to be different. So I'm not even sure, but I know like over here in the UK, like legally, you're not actually meant to in the UK legally you're not meant to be able to just watch CCTV unless there's like an incident. It's meant to just be recorded, but that, that don't really apply in reality. But in the States, it might be a bit different. But I'm guessing, anyway, these delivery drivers, for them to put cameras in and record, they need to, basically sign a waiver. And it's, yeah, basically they've been forced to do it as well. And it's funny because the few sides to it are, it's basically making that mandatory, certain level of biometrics. And then, with like them tracking like your, facial recognition, fingerprints, because you've had company I worked at before, where you're basically forced to sign up with your what the fuck is it called? Your thumb, your fingerprint, to sign in and out. So it was like, yeah, you like had to do that. If you didn't do it, then they'll just be like, yo, you just get fired. And it's kind of like that's how. So these companies can do it, and it's like the other side is funny is this Amazon is doing it. That's one of the big, these guys are essentially that kind of in that same kind of framework, that New World Order approach, man, where they just got a big, huge conglomerate that just manages over and covers a whole one whole corner of the market, man. Like there's only one provider that services. And that's the thing, it's like it's like with Amazon, everyone uses Amazon. Most people probably have Amazon Prime and get shit delivered all throughout the week, all throughout the month. So it's basically they've fulfilled that, they've hit that niche, and it's like they've basically made themselves so everyone's relying on them. So now they can basically start to force people, because it's like if these men don't want to drive, bruv, there'll be other people looking for jobs, because it's hella the middle class have been completely disenfranchised from society. So you can have a bunch of people looking for jobs. Unemployment's been on the up and up. So yeah, they're not gonna find difficulty replacing them. And it's the States as well. Everyone drives in the States. So yeah, these men just have to ride out on it, and then that's how you know, the mark comes, hey, for the mark of the beast, it's gonna be similar. You're just gonna have, it's gonna be pushed out there, and then that's what it is. You're gonna have these big companies like Amazon, uh, what was I thinking? Any of the huge kind of chains, because even like Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, these big like companies that kind of, because even with Google, it's like, okay, it's a search engine, but it also manages. It's got YouTube. It's got all kinds of algorithms. It's got ads. Is it AdSense? I believe it's AdSense. Oh, Google Ads or AdSense, whichever one, where they kind of track, you know, your interests and then feedback that thing into basically monetizing you with that information. So you got these huge companies that basically control, have a whole angle on marketing. So when you think about it, it's like even online advertising, from day it's really been Google that's been running it. Like any website, just like running ads, generally is Google ads. I don't really know who else is in the market still, but I know from way back when I set up a website or two, that was the standard. Like this is fucking forever ago. Like just after the 2000, like early 2000s, when like Google was the Don Dadas of the ad game. They still are, and it's like even with YouTube ads, all that as well. Them man are the basically have it all on lock. So this is how, and that's the thing as well. Is like they kind of have a huge reach as well. So then, given that, hey, they're basically it's gonna get to the point where it's like if you're gonna that, and they also do acquisitions. So that's the other thing as well. I mentioned like Facebook. I believe, was it Facebook? I believe it was Facebook that bought up what the fuck is it called? Instagram, and it was like Twitter that bought up Vine. There's a few like they basically, it's like if competition comes up, they got so big they can just acquire all the competition, take all their features, and then everyone's forced to go to that one source. All the information goes through there. People can be tracked. People can be, if you want to shut them out, you got the power to shut them out from all levels, and all the different companies are gonna shut them out. It's like with social media, if they want to like just be like, okay, now this guy ain't gonna be able to speak. It's like they did with Trump, where they just all of them were just like, okay, nah, getting rid of all Trump's accounts. So that's the thing. Is like with people kind of buy into it because like, hey, the convenience. They'll provide a good product, and because they've got such a huge stranglehold in the market, they can offer it at a higher quality and a cheaper price than everyone else for the time being. Once they've cornered the market, then they can do whatever the fuck they want. And that's how people in the world, they don't really understand how these things are running. They don't realize, they're just thinking like, oh, you know, progress, blah blah blah. And it's funny because you got like books like 1984 and the movie, and that kind of shows like the end goal, where it's all looking to just go into that one world order, where you've only got essentially you become a slave of the state, man. And then you just got to bow down and reverence the elites, and completely conform to their society that they desire, where everyone's just on an ant level, and they're living as gods. That's the thing, is you've seen, well, the progress has been going along. You can see how they're pushing out the max, and then the mark is going to be the same thing, where you're going to have myriad angles, multiple angles by which they're going to be forcing it and pushing it onto people. So this is what Amazon may use certain technology that processes biometric information, including onboard safety camera technology. It's always for safety. Every camera is for Ross Clark safety. It's like London, it probably still is. I don't know. China's been doing a madness, but London's probably still the most surveilled city, in the world, where it's just like cameras, fucking every up and down the street, man. You can be tracked by camera all over the show. So that's why it's people don't realize well, some people realize, you got certain truthers, but it's like by and large, people don't even care. They're just thinking about being able to enjoy their life and being able to, receive all the, so-called joys of this society. Not realizing that, those things are being used to lull them to sleep. It's that what's the term? Bread and circus, man. Full belly and entertainment for the time being, then it's any you will accept, anything. So this is what which collects your photographs for the purposes of confirming your identity and connecting you to your driver account. The form so that's even connected to your account. And the thing is this is the kind of shit they have in China, because in China there was another article. I lost it. I had it on my phone for a bit. Maybe I did I don't think I did a video on it. Yeah, maybe I did. I planned to, but I don't think I did. But it was going into how in China they have essentially built it to like that same level of like tracking state, because even for them, their cameras, they track people, where they're going, what they're doing. Oh, and they said it tracks your emotions as well. So I can tell, it's like it can see, even with if you have a mask on, they've still got like an algorithm behind it where they can kind of like detect the emotions on the face. They can see if you're angry, anxious, sad, excited, and then depending on the how you're presenting out in society, it can affect your Sesame credit score. So you can basically be losing, if you're walking around pissed off or you're walking around sad or something, then you're gonna lose Sesame credits, and you're gonna lose access to privileges that you have within society, man. Being able to use public transport, being able to get a loan, open a bank account, leave the country, all these kinds of things are tied up into that. So that's the extreme that it's looking to go to, and this lets you know it's going the same way. They're like, especially with America, it's a way more corporate system. So it's like them big companies, people be like, oh, because they feed into that capitalistic system, they'll accept it more from like, okay, company, well, they can just kind of do what they're doing. It's big company, blah blah blah. And people run it. It's like, oh, McDonald's said like, okay, look, we're gonna start doing X, Y, Z. No one can really do anything, because as far as like the government ain't really exerting that control over them, as far as from the peon's point of view. But hey, these guys are all in concert, man. They're all working together. They're basically all in the elites at the top of all these companies. They're invested in that new world order which they're trying to do, which is really for the benefit of Jake, man, because it's all according to prophecy, and it's going to lead to Esau's own downfall. But yeah, it says what may create biometric information, collect and store and use biometric information from such photographs. Yeah, it says means there's probably more. It says added, this technology tracks vehicle location and movement, including miles driven, speed, acceleration, braking, turns, and following distance. So it's basically like you're going to be getting the fingers as well. With all these things being tracked, it ain't going to be like you're going to have a guy sitting there watching. You might have one or two guys overseeing it, but it's going to be by and large algorithms. They're just going to have AIs working and tracking and detecting who's doing what, and they'll be like, okay, look, this guy's getting reduced hours because he was speeding, or this guy's gonna get a fine. If there's a fine, this guy's getting charged this, all kinds of shit. And there's that dystopian future, man, where they're basically just able to track everything and keep you under complete lock. And this is you're seeing it coming into action. This is the thing, is this is Esau just essentially showing his hand, how he desires to have the people. Because I'm like, how you like, Amazon was already fucked, especially in their warehouses, was a complete mess. And it's like with the driving anyway, like I think the way the delivery worked, it's been a while since someone explained it to me, but it's like, I think if you basically like how much deliveries you hit and how much time it takes. Like when you hit, you can basically have the capability to earn bonuses if you go up and beyond a certain point. But it's like the way they're set up is like you have to be doing a madness, like sprinting up and down, speeding, all this to try and get that. So now this is a way of they're basically going to be tracking that and probably reprimanding and all that, or taking money out of your paycheck off the back of this shit. More likely than not, because it all comes down to that dollar, man, that greed. So it says, well, as a condition of delivering packages for Amazon, you consent to the use of technology. In February, Amazon announced plans to install AI-powered full-lens cameras made by tech company Netrodyne into all of its Amazon-branded delivery vans. The company says cameras are being used to improve safety and the quality of the delivery experience. But as Thomas Reuters reported earlier this month, some drivers are quitting their jobs because of privacy concerns. The Netrodyne cameras are able to sense when a driver yawns, appears distracted, or isn't wearing a seatbelt. So this shit is dystopian as hell, man. You driving and you yawn and be like, nah, you driving when you're tired. Okay, nah, we're gonna have to fire you. That's what kind of hell is that? How are you even gonna work? You got some fucking AI tapped in fucking camera watching you, recording your every move, and then you're gonna have every time you go out to work, someone's gonna be like, well, look, mate, well, it's it's completely unacceptable behavior, yawning on the job. But that's was that the whole thing? This is what? Technically, these drivers aren't even employed by Amazon, but by roughly 800 companies known as delivery service partners that operate out of Amazon delivery stations. So Amazon controls many aspects of the driver's working conditions, from their training to the uniforms to their delivery quotas, yeah? So the men were having to fucking piss in bottles, speed around pissing in bottles, just to make your deliveries on time. This is the kind of madness Esau's pushing. And this, people uphold this society like it's some kind of, beacon of greatness. I'm like, bro, what the hell is that? Like, I'd rather just like sow and reap a field, man. That's less hassle, less hell than this, man. Going out in the hot sun and breaking your back to sow a field. Because at least then it's like, yo, you just got to do the back breaking work, and then you get the reward later down the line, and you don't really have to worry about Esau being on your back, man, hounding you. But that's how mad this thing is. This is the abysmal future Esau basically wants, man. Habakkuk 2:4 says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, Esau's soul's not upright. That's why the way he operates his kingdom system. It's all greed based, man. It's all about the bottom line. It's basically built off completely destroying people, because that's how America was built, off what, the backs of slaves. Ain't changed since. Verse 5, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire is hell, and is death, and cannot be satisfied. Yeah, this guy's got an insatiable appetite, man. He's got armies going all around the earth to grab up and accumulate all wealth, all resources into his own hands. This guy, and then what does he do with it, man? He's got people working in fucking Amazon warehouses, sprinting around, getting 20 minutes on break where they got to run 5 minutes to even get to the canteen, and then 2 minutes eating, and then you got to sprint back. And if you're late, these men are giving you hell. All kinds. It's mad. And then drivers, man, have already been in hell. Now it's twofold. It's a mess, man. This man's a fucking criminal. This is what, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Yeah, this guy's grabbing up people from all around the earth, getting everyone out here, chasing that American dream. What? To use them as that resource, man. But yeah, I'll leave it on that. Shalom. Yabashim Yashab Hashem Makakdash Bakata. Shalom.